is Harrison. My world is movies and TV. Once I was a writer of movie reviews. A writer searching for a better way to review movies. As the world of written reviews fell, each of us in our own way was broken. It was hard to know who was dying more to see me put up a video review. Me or everyone else.
Hey guys, and welcome to the first review on my channel, Juicy Reviews. So how'd you guys like that intro? That was pretty well made on my end, I have to say. Everything that went down that. If y'all are wondering, whenever I turn my face, like what that orange dark stuff looked like, let's just say, you know, acne got to me before the War Boys did. And if y'all don't know who the War Boys are, they are these weird looking scraggly white boys who just attack Mad Max and his friends. Well, anyway, on to this review. Mad Max Fury Road. 30 years in the making, as I should say, since the first Mad Max came out, Thunderdome. And it stars Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron, and a whole list of other people, including Nicholas Hoult. Now, Tom Hardy plays Mad Max, our title character, and he is taken captive by the War Boys in the beginning of this movie. And basically, he serves as a sort of like blood bag to Nicholas Hoult, who plays a white boy, war boy, named Nux. Now, what happens there is he gets taken along a ride with him because Charlize Theron's character, Furiosa, I think that's her name, she goes rogue against her own clan, which included the War Boys, and she steals their leader, Immortan Joe's, purebred type people. They're like these model women who she just takes on a big war rig and drives down desert hoping to find this safe haven of green and whatnot, and basically just help these girls out. But Immortan Joe wants these girls back, so he sends his war boys out to get her. And of course, Mad Max has to be along for that ride. But what I thought of this movie, well, it is a rather odd one, to say the least. There's just so much going on, like action-wise and things. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, it's a non-stop chase scene that you're watching. It's from point A to point B, just riding down the desert. You see cars flipping, exploding, people throwing spears that are explosive. For some reason, I guess they dip them in gasoline or something, and there's barely any talking throughout this thing. There's like a couple parts where you get to hear them talk and whatnot, but it's pretty bare bones in terms of script, which is something I would say is a con. The action itself, that was top notch. Like everything, the directing, the smoothness, the clearness of every single piece of just action in this is something that you could watch for several times and see different little details that you haven't seen before whenever you first watch this. But besides that note, the acting was pretty good. I haven't seen any of the Mad Max films before this one. I wanted to before I went in this one, but I kind of want to review this one since it was out in Redbox recently, and I did not get a chance to see it in theaters. And I thought, well, they said that you don't really have to watch the first Mad Max movies to watch this, so I'll just watch it. Tom Hardy was pretty good. I mean, for his own self, he did a pretty good job. I will say that I saw some clips from the original Mad Max movies. I would think Mel Gibson is better, but mainly because he has more of a script than Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy, you just hear, like, in the beginning, he says that, says this whole dialogue thing that basically sets the tone, which is what I was mocking in my intro. And he says some stuff towards the end, but pretty much throughout the whole thing, you're just seeing his facial expressions for things, and it's usually just like, what? What's going on here? Like, you're basically just hearing him grunt the whole time, and you just have to work with it. Charlize Theron, her character Furiosa, I would say it was pretty much her movie throughout the whole thing, which could kind of be an issue. I mean, I'm not against women or anything, but it was just, I watch a Mad Max movie, you see Max getting action, but it's mainly her. And she's not a bad character. I like her character. I just wish that, Max had more of a role in this than, he did. Like, he was more the wingman of the whole situation. And since they just announced a sequel with them both in it, they'll probably go back to Furiosa as, like, the main person. Everyone did a great job in this, like, acting-wise. They're all just crazy people. Like, they portrayed them just... It's so hard to put in words. It's just, you watch this and you just feel like chaos. You feel like this whole wave rushing over you of just, I have never seen something like this unless you watch the original Mad Max movies. There's nothing normal. There's nothing sane. There's nothing warm-hearted in this whatsoever. You're basically watching a whole different scope of a movie. And it can tire you out. Like, it wore me out just watching the thing. I would say that this is a very, very entertaining movie. It kept me on the edge of my seat, and just watching the whole array of just great scenery, like, just the landscapes were great, the cinematography was great, everything was smooth, everything was just crystal, even though it was really insanity. You're watching people, like, jump from different cars and things. Like, you had this one guy who you probably saw in the trailer wearing, like, a onesie with a electric guitar shooting flames out of it. Like, that stuff is cool. Like, I was surprised. I actually thought that was really cool watching it, because it is silly, it's outrageous, it's in your face, and it is good. So that is the underlying theme of this whole thing. It's just awesome and epic. Cons, I really just stated all I had to say, really, except, and besides the fact of Tom Hardy's Mad Max and how he's basically a wingman, the only other con I could think is how bare bones the story is, which is what I mentioned before. It really, I said there was no speaking, and that is true, really. You're going from one point to the other, and then, hey, let's go back to some more points and just ride along there. Like, there's barely ever any stops of this whole long chase, and it carried on to nighttime too, which was really cool in terms of, like, color changes and things, from, like, the orange desert to the blue night. In the end, it was a really great movie, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic, and I would definitely like to see the original Mad Max movies. They're probably not as action-packed as this one. I don't know. I'm assuming the first one wasn't as big in terms of scale, because they didn't really get into the whole post-apocalyptic world until, like, the sequel, the second one. So I can't wait for that. And I recommend anyone who is right of age to watch this because it is rated R, and you will definitely have a great time. And one more note I have to say, this movie rarely used CGI. Like, the only times they used CGI was certain green screens for larger builds or sets, action scenes, and Furiosa's hand. That's pretty much the only stuff they use, which is a great fun fact for me because you could definitely tell. The score of this, I give it a 95%, which equals juicy popcorn and an A. Thanks guys for watching this, and thanks for bearing with me here on my first review. I hope to make more, and I'll see you all next time.